Intermittent fasting for people who want to lose weight without giving up a single calorie. How can you restrict calories without restricting calories? The answer is time. Very generally, your body cycles through two states, the fed state and the fasted state. Intermittent fasting is essentially not eating for longer periods of time in order to take advantage of your body's natural states, particularly the body's fasting state. Right after you eat, insulin shoots up because insulin promotes the storage and the absorption of the fuel that you just ate. The majority of these fuels are carbohydrates and fats. Carbohydrate storage is pretty limited, so the majority of food you eat is stored as fat. This is the fed state because you have just been fed, so your body does not want to get rid of that fuel, it wants to store that fuel. Several hours after eating, you enter something called the fasted state. After a period of time, your body naturally uses up that carbohydrate storage, which again is pretty limited. Glucagon levels rise. Glucagon is the opposite hormone of insulin. Glucagon and the lack of insulin promotes the breakdown of those fuels, especially after a while. Fat stores. Glucose is required for certain organs that don't like to use fats as fuels, so when carbohydrate stores get low, the body kind of panics and is like, okay, save that, just use the fat, we got tons of that, don't worry, we got lots of that. So, if you're exercising, you want to exercise in a fasted state, right? Generally, yeah. Growth hormone is also released in the fasting state, which does exactly that. It builds and promotes the growth of your muscles and your tissues, but insulin is an even better promoter of the storage and building of muscle because it's a storage hormone. It wants to store and build up everything. Carbohydrates, fats, muscles included in that too. The best thing to do in that case is to fast before your exercise and then eat after your exercise, which will come into play a little bit later. Along with fat loss, as well as lower blood sugar and insulin when you choose to fast, it also preserves muscle tissue and it lowers inflammation, blood pressure, and actually helps you live longer. A couple of problems with intermittent fasting generally stem from the brain and the mental barriers that you have to get over in order to do intermittent fasting. A lot of people talk about how eating more can be better in terms of eating more times during the day and constantly eating over binge eating a couple times a day. Not binge eating, but eating more at your meals rather than snacking all through the day. The truth is, we don't need to eat all the time. We don't. It can actually be very beneficial for your body to go into that fasting state. With food constantly available to us, it's easy to forget that we don't need to be eating all of the time. So that's a lot of the theory of intermittent fasting, but how is it actually done? There's lots of different plans and schedules that can be both flexible or extremely strict in terms of what you're allowed to eat during the fast and how long you're fasting, when you're fasting. There are two pretty common types of fasting. The first type is a 24-hour fast. The people who do 24-hour fasts usually do them once or twice a week, but they can also do alternate day fasting. As an example of a 24-hour fast, you could eat normally until, say, 6 p.m. when you have dinner. And then after that, after you have dinner, you don't eat again for 24 hours until 6 p.m. that next day. The second type is a shorter fast, a 16-hour fast. Because it is a shorter fast, most people who do this type of fasting do it every day or several times during the week. The easiest way to think of this type of fasting is by sectioning off an eating window. This is the period of time where you are allowed to eat, not necessarily in meals, which you can do that too, or you can eat constantly through that period, whatever you want to do, but outside of that window of time, you are fasting, you are not eating. An example of this would be noon to 8 p.m. That is your eating window, and you do this maybe every day or a couple days a week, where you only eat from noon to 8 p.m. and beyond that time period until the next day, you don't eat. Some plans can be modified to make the fast work for you. Some allow no or low calorie coffee or tea during the fast. Others allow you to eat during the fasting time, but only a specific portion of your calories for the day. So maybe 20% of your calorie intake for the day is allowed during that fasting time, and the rest is allocated to the eating window. It's okay to start with smaller fasting times in order to get you used to the idea that it's okay to not eat for a little while, and then you can always build up on that time. You can also choose to fast every now and again. Some people do it once a month just to reap the benefits of it without fully committing to doing it several times a week. And again, it's not like you're skipping meals. You're just moving all of your calories to a certain time period during the day. So it's hard to break yourself out of the mold of I need to eat meals or I need to eat meals at certain times of the day. Intermittent fasting is also not an excuse to binge eat. It's not good for you. Don't do that. You should also be eating healthy, which I just kind of advocate for all the time. Just eat healthy while you're doing this, please. Make sure you're getting all of your macronutrients, vitamins, minerals, whatever. Also make sure if you've got medical conditions and things that it is okay with your doctor, because you don't want to put yourself in danger just because you want to lose weight. Don't do that, please. Also, if you're heavily active, it may not be the lifestyle for you, or you may have to do it a certain way to make sure you're not totally burning yourself out. As I mentioned earlier, you can kind of schedule it around your workouts, but if you're working out every single day or you're doing different sports multiple times a day, it may not work. It just might not work for you. Anyone can really take advantage of the body states if you think about it. I will be covering those in the next energy and metabolism science if you guys feel like checking out that series at all. That's gonna be the next one. That is all I got for today. As usual, all of my links are down in the description below. Feel free to click that little red subscribe button if you would like to tag along with what I'm doing. And I hope you had a wonderful day.